Hi everyone, this is your math guru. Today I'm going to solve the following quadratic equations using the completing the square method. Please don't forget to click on the like and subscribe button below for more easy to understand math concepts. In my first example, I have x squared plus 4x minus 12 equals to 0. Completing the square method, I need to make sure that the coefficient of x squared is 1. And for this equation, the coefficient of x squared is 1. So I move to the next step. That is, I'm going to move my constant to the other side. So I have x squared plus 4x. My constant here is minus 12. And if it goes to the other side, it's going to be 12. Then I need to add the square of half the coefficient of x. The coefficient of x here is 4. Half of it is 2. So I'm going to add that. So it's 4 divided by 2. Then I square it. Whatever I do on my left, I do on my right. So it's going to be 4 over 2 all squared. This will give me, I have x squared plus 4x plus 4 over 2. I'm going to change that to 2. 4 divided by 2 is 2 squared equals 12 plus, I'm going to expand this. That's 4 squared over 2 squared. That's 2 squared. That will give me 4. You can check that. Then, completing the square, I'm going to pick my x and my 2 here, which is positive 2. I have x plus 2 all squared equals 16. To find x, I need to get rid of my square, and I do that by finding the square root of both sides. The square root cancels the 2 here. I'm left with x plus 2 equals plus or minus square root of 16, that's 4. If I take 2 to the other side, I have x equals minus 2 plus or minus 4. Therefore, x equals minus 2 plus 4, or x equals minus 2 minus 4. X equals to 2, or x equals to minus 6. Let's look at another example. In this example, I have x squared plus 5x minus 6 equals to 0. My first check, I need to make sure that the coefficient of x squared is 1. For this example, it's 1. Then I can go to the next step. Next step says move the constant to the other side. Minus 6 going to the other side becomes positive 6. The next step is to add the square of half the coefficients of x. The coefficient of x here is plus 5. So the half of it will be 5 over 2, and then squaring it. Remember, whatever you do on your left, you do on your right. That'll be 5 over 2 all squared. Then I have x squared. Completing the square, I'm going to pick my x and my 5 over 2. So I have x. I'm going to take out the square. I have plus 5 over 2 all squared equals, if I solve this, this would be 6 plus 25 over 4. Putting the denominators to be making them the same. On this side, I'm going to be multiplying by 4. By 4, this will give me 24 over 4 plus 25 over 4. And once the denominator are the same, I can put them under the same denominator. 4, 24 plus 25, that's 49. Slotting that back into my equation, I have x plus 5 over 2 all squared equals 49 over 4. To find x, or to get rid of my square, I need to find the square root of both sides. I'm left with x plus 5 over 2 equals plus or minus 7 over 2. I got that from applying the laws of the Surds law, which says square root of a over b is the same thing as square root of a over square root of b. For this question, I have square root of 49 over 4, square root of 49 over square root of 4, which will give me 7 over 2, like I have here. So to find x, I need to take 5 over 2 to the other side, which will become a negative number. So x equals minus 5 over 2 plus or minus 7 over 2. So my x equals minus 5 over 2 plus 7 over 2, or x equals minus 5 over 2 minus 7 over 2. Therefore, x equals minus 5 plus 7, that's 2 over 2, which is 1, or x equals minus 5 minus 7, that's minus 12 over 2, and that will give me minus 6. Let's look at more examples. To complete the square, I need to make sure that the coefficient of x squared is 1. In this example, the coefficient of x squared is 2. So the first step is to divide through by the coefficient of x squared, which is 2. So I'm going to have 2x squared over 2. You're going to divide each term by 2. Minus 6 over 2 equals 0 over 2 is 0. This cancelled. I'm left with x squared minus 3 over 2x minus 3 equals to 0. The next step is to take the constant to the other side. The constant here is 3, and because it's negative 3 on the left hand side, if it goes to the other side, it becomes a positive 3. Completing the square, I need to add the square of half the coefficient of x. The coefficient of x here is minus 3 over 2. And minus 3 over 2, halving it divided by 2, and then I square it. That's going to give me minus 3 over 2 times 1 over 2 all squared. That will be minus 3 over 4 all squared. So that's what I'm going to be adding to both sides. So I have x squared minus, I'm going to change that in my blue pen, x squared minus 3 over 2x plus, in bracket, because it's a negative coefficient, that's 3 over 4 all squared equals 3 plus, in bracket, minus 3 over 4 all squared. Then I'm going to have, completing the square, I pick my x and minus 3 over 4 to complete. That will be x minus 3 over 4, exactly what I have in the bracket, all squared equals, if I expand my right hand side, I have 3 plus minus 3 times minus 3, that's 9, positive 9, 4 times 4, that's 16. So I have on my right hand side 3 plus 9 over 16. If I put them under the same denominator, this is over 1. So my LCD here is 16, so this will be times 16 times 16 to make the denominator the same. 16 times 3, that's 48 over 16 plus 9 over 16. The denominators are the same, so I merge them. I have 48 plus 9, that will be 57. So I'm going to put it back into my equation. This is equals to 57 over 16. So I have in bracket x minus 3 over 4 all squared equals 57 over 16. To get rid of my square, I'm going to find the square root of both sides, and that will give me x minus 3 over 4 equals square root of 57 over square root of 16, that's 4. Taking 3 over 4 to the other side, because it's a negative, it becomes a positive. So it's 3 over 4. I have plus or minus. This is plus or minus here. Plus or minus square root of 57 over 4. And if you see, the denominators are the same, so I can match them. So I have x equals 3 plus or minus square root of 57 all over 4. If I want to leave it in surd form, I'm going to say x equals 3 plus root 57 over 4, or x equals 3 minus root 57 all over 4. That's leaving it in surd form. If I want to leave it as a decimal, to do 2 decimal places, I'm going to have 3 plus square root of 57 over 4. If you punch that in on your calculator quickly, we're going to have 2.64. And if you punch in 3 minus root 57 over 4, we're going to have x equals minus 1,14. Let's look at one more example. In this example, we have 10 plus 6x minus x squared equals to 1. If I rearrange that quickly in the standard form, that will be minus x squared plus 6x plus 10 equals to 0. Remember, if you're completing the square, the coefficient of x squared must be positive 1. So I'm going to be dividing through by negative 1. That will give me x squared, positive x squared, minus 6x minus 10 equals to 0. The next step, I take my constant to the other side. So I have x squared minus 6x minus 10 becomes positive 10 on the other side. Then I add the square of half the coefficient of x. Half the coefficient of x here is 6. So I'm going to be adding, it's minus 6. So that will be minus 6 half over 2 all squared. And whatever you do on your left, you do on your right. Plus minus 6 over 2 all squared. So completing the square, I'm going to take my x and minus 6 over 2. That will give me x minus 6 over 2 all squared equals, I can expand my right hand side. That's 10 plus minus 6 times 2 all to the power of 2. That's positive 36. 2 squared, that's 4. That will be 10 plus 4 here 1. 4 here 9, 10 plus 9, that's 19. If I rewrite that, I'm going to have x minus 6 over 2 all squared equals to 19. To get rid of my square, I find the square root of both sides. I'm left with x. I'm going to change that to my blue pen. So I have x minus 6 over 2 equals plus or minus square root of 19. If I take 6 over 2 to the other side, I'm left with x equals 6 over 2 plus or minus square root of 19. 6 over 2 here is 2 here 1, 2 here 3. So that's x equals 3 plus or minus square root of 19. If I rewrite that, I'm going to have x equals 3 plus square root of 19, or x equals 3 minus square root of 19. And that is leaving it in the surd form. If I'm going to leave it in a decimal form, it's going to be x equals 3 plus root 19, that's 7,36 to 2 decimal places, or x equals minus 1,36 to 2 decimal places. Thanks for watching. Bye.